evening, Super League fans. If anyone is on early, it's preliminary final night. Thank you to everyone who's participated so far this season, and congratulations to the team who's made it so far. Thought I'd start a little bit early and just have a little bit of a ramble as uh, as has become custom in these last few weeks. A lot to look forward to tonight, mainly for Andreas because he gets to see two people or two teams fight it out for a place against him, obviously in the grand final on Sunday. He'll be hoping for injuries, for red cards, for various things to happen to either of the two sides that we're looking at tonight. We've got Bolton Phoenix. They've got the home advantage, and they're up against Churchtown Massive. Although, of course, having a home advantage against Churchtown is a bit of an oxymoron, as they are clearly the better away side compared to their home form anyway. That saw them lose more games than they did away throughout the season, and also had that unfortunate first home game against Midlothian. Well, I say unfortunate. It was a quality performance by Ian and the Midlothian side, and obviously Churchtown eventually got the result when they played away from home, helped on a little bit by Shay Given and a goalkeeping kind of mishap, and of course the sending off of Hitman early on in the game. What else can we say about tonight's matches? I can see Andreas and Ryan or have been online at some point, so welcome to anyone who is watching. We'll have a quick look at the Super League then, just in general, and see how things finished up in case anyone had forgotten. I doubt it, of course, but here's the final table. It seems seems a while ago now that people were fighting over this and trying to get into the playoffs and who was going to finish in the top three and four and five and all this, and was there any chance that Dragons could make it in? Would Swindon get off the bottom? It all seems like a distant memory these days. Um, we've been talking a lot about the players, team of the year, who should be in it, who shouldn't. Standout goalkeeping performance from Jens Lehmann there, obviously an 8 average, fantastic performance for him for Aston Athletic. Um, Among the strikers, there's obviously Ebbe Sanders right up there. He scored a large number of goals. Is my chat working? Yes, we can. I can read it. So yeah, I guess your chat is working, Fifey. Can you hear us? Is the other question. But as you can see, I mean, there's a couple of people here. There's quite a few people here that we'll see in action tonight. Sambrota will be playing, obviously. There's Dede on the other flank, so that's a strong pairing that Ryan's got there, obviously. And we've got Churchtown. They're following close behind with Van Nistelrooy, with Ferguson, with Davids, with Sorochinski. Sorochinski, who we'll see in a bit of an unexpected role tonight, but we'll see how it goes. I have no visual though. Does everyone else have visual? I hope so. Martin, you just went live mid-sentence. In the middle of what sentence? I've been talking for like 3 minutes. Patiently waiting for the comments to explain to me what's going on. None of the 3 minutes was live. Okay, so what are you seeing on the screen now? Are you seeing um, have I just switched to the league table on your screen as well? Okay, okay. Well, in that case, let's go back to speak about Dede. What was I going to say about him? I was going to say that we'll see a bunch of these players who are on the what do you call it? On the average rating league table. You see a bunch of these guys in action tonight. Zambrota and Dede, obviously for Bolton, strong pairing he's got there. And then we've got Van Nistelrooy, Ferguson, Davids, and Sorochinski. They are there. So yeah, it looks very exciting, a very exciting lineup. Um, When you say there's a 20-second delay, Andreas, do you mean between what? Between what I say and what is happening? I just don't want to comment and it not be in sync of with the actual action. If that makes sense. Ah, okay. Well, I don't know what's going on in the chat feed anyway, but hopefully what I say is kind of in line with what's on the street on screen. If you bear with me just 1 second, I will try and change the anyway, there's something wrong with the bitrate of the actual stream, the audio, and if I was going to go on for longer, if it was a whole evening kind of stream, I would probably look into changing that because it keeps changing between good quality audio and recommending that I change the audio settings. But enough of the technical talk. No one came here for that, did they? So perfect, perfect, perfect. Apologies for that. Technical issues as usual. Well, that brings us up to 9 o'clock and around the time when we were meant to kick off the action anyway. So let's go back to talking about the Super League instead of me faffing about with browser settings and streaming things that I know nothing about. Um, as I was saying before I so rudely interrupted myself, we'll see a bunch of these guys in action tonight. Some of the best players in the league. Obviously, Cafu has just about made it in there, and Shevchenko. But apart from that, it's pretty much Bolton and Churchtown who are the best represented sides in here. With sort of Chinsky, Davids, Ferguson, Van Nistelrooy being the main men for Churchtown. Interesting case that we have Ferguson, who is many people's player of the season with such a relatively low average, but his output of 17 assists and 9 goals in 23 starts is probably pretty much unrivaled in the league. Clearly, there are players with more goals and there are players with more assists than him, but the combined figures are quite impressive. We don't have a particularly strict referee in charge this evening. Something Dwight. I'm not sure if he's refereed that many games in the past. David Dwight is in charge of the action. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Is that 549? Okay, so David Dwight, I think, is in charge of the action tonight. He's refereed 5 games and he's sent off 4 players and issued 9 yellows. I'm pretty sure it's him. Yeah, let's have a look. Let's have a look at yeah, David Dwight. So we could be in for some for some card action tonight. While we're here, let's have a look at the past meetings between the two. So it's been, yeah, I mean, it's been a 3-0 victory away for Bolton and a 3-4-1 victory away for Churchtown. So that's a bit of an odd one. I mean, it seems as if the away side is outperforming the home side, but we'll see if that holds true tonight. Obviously, this one Oliver Kahn had a bit of a howler, something we don't see very often from him. And Ryan went away with the 3 points there. Verong playing, obviously he's also back tonight, so that could be very important. Um, in the other game we had Sorochinsky actually got sent off here. That was a big victory for Churchtown. They really set out their intentions for the rest of the season there. They were 3-0 up before they got a man sent off and managed to score again and before Raul pulled one back. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things go between the two sides tonight. Let's probably just dive into it because we don't really have so much else on the schedule tonight. I think we will do a big review show at the end of the year. We will talk about different teams and different players. So rather than spending a lot of time on that tonight, I think both the competitors who are in action tonight are live on the chat. So good luck to both of you, Kieran and to Ryan. Here we go. Here we look at first up. We've got the Bolton Phoenix. Let's double check the starting lineup for the Phoenix here. We've got the Casillas in goal. We've got Henshaw and Neville at the back. Then we've got Senoni next to Boomsong, who's obviously come making a return after his impressive performance in the last game with the 2 goals that he scored against Vallen. Sambrota and oh yeah, I don't know why it defaults. It's not my it's not on purpose. It's not on purpose. It defaults. I clear the squad in order to make sure I get the right people in there. I clear the squad and I set them all up again. And for some reason, it defaults to a rule I can't explain. Verong is back in central midfield, and he's obviously been sorely missed for Ryan. So he'll be relying on him to produce some great balls forward for Raul and for Figo this evening, and obviously for Montella, who was going to be in the top 5 goal scorers of the league this season, but I think he's stuck on 12 for the season, which I don't think will be enough. But of course, that could still all be about to change this evening. Um, he's up against someone very special, someone that we haven't seen at the heart of the defense before. So his direct opponent tonight will be Sorocinski, who's taking over for Turam, who is I believe suspended for this game. We've got Oliver Kahn in goal for Churchtown, Sorocinski right in front of him, as I mentioned. Then we've got Davids and Jeremies, who were both suspended in the last game. They're both back. Tudor in between them, who's also been doing pretty well for Churchtown recently. 8s, 7s, and 9s. Very strong stats. I mean, he's an impressive player. Then we've got Barry Ferguson, the assist king. Let's see if there's any corners or free kicks or anything like that he can take and create chances from them. Taking up very much the same role as Verong have for Bolton, so that'll be interesting. The battle between those two. Then we've got Robin behind the front three on the left-hand side. He had a good game last time out, and Edmundo as well wasn't too shabby at all. Up front, yeah, it's a trio of Larsson, Van Nistelrooy, and Sedebe, who've been quite good at kind of sharing the goals between them and putting the opponents under pressure. So it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. Obviously, two quite attacking sides. Ryan with a slightly more defensive attitude, and Kieran did fail to break that down effectively against Midlothian until the red card. So maybe there's something in there with how recent performances have gone. Edmundo is a walk-in red card apparently, and with David Dwight, a man who likes to hand them out, then we could be up for an interesting evening. So let's see. The commentary set is set to fast. I'll try and make it as interesting as possible. Hopefully the teams will do the same. We'll kick this one off. If there's any recommendations, any predictions in the chat, then that'll be nice. We don't have Alf online, unfortunately. Our usual expert on these matters, but I'm sure he'll throw in his 2 cents later on this evening when he sees the result if he doesn't manage to join. So yeah, thanks very much. 3-1 Ian Edwards, the first of our experts to enter. Oh, there's a lot of love for Bolton, considering that they didn't get many votes in the poll. We'll see. Anyway, let's kick this one off. I'm sure Ryan and Kieran are desperate to figure out who's going to be joining Andreas in the final on Sunday. So let's see how it goes at the stadium with Bolton home advantage. Which isn't always an advantage in this fixture, and Kieran obviously the away side tonight. It looks as if the first bit of action is down near Bolton Phoenix's penalty area, but quickly up the other way, and a free kick there taken by Verong. Nothing came of it though. Verong again looks as if he's made a good start to the evening. Very important player for Bolton Phoenix, obviously. Boomsong involved as well. He's obviously got something to show now that he's finally been given the chance. He had such a good run at it in the last game out, and he's trying to impress again. Muldo and Larsson piling on the pressure there. Of course, Casillas didn't have the best of games last time for Bolton, but Nick Matulin is not in his manager's good books at the moment, so we're not seeing him. Couple of good chances there for Churchtown, probably having the better of the first 20 minutes on balance. But here comes Figo, here comes Dede. They've got so many players who can create Bolton Phoenix. It's just a question of whether they can actually put away those chances. Montea had such a good start to his career here, but obviously he's not scored that many recently. Oof, that was a good chance for Raul there, putting it just over the bar. Another player who's kind of been a little bit disappointing this season, I think, Raul for Bolton Phoenix. They would have hoped for a little bit more from him. But Bolton definitely having the upper hand at the moment, creating the better of the chances, but again failing to capitalize on them. Reminds me a little bit of the first half that Bolton had with Vallen United dominating, but failing to take the chances. However, Churchtown are constantly looking dangerous. Here comes Larsens inside the area. There's a good chance. Loose ball for Lisa Debe. Again, a loose chance. Ferguson again putting on that's 3-4 chances right before half time here for Churchtown. And who got a yellow card? Didn't spot that. Let's see if Bolton can do something just before half time maybe. Veron was up there. Sort of Chinsky, we've not seen his name pop up very much, so presumably he's doing a pretty good job because we haven't seen much of Montella either. Safe hands by Casillas. Veron trying to create something. We've into 3 minutes of added time in the first half. Figo tries his luck, but places it over again. Poor finishing from both sides, I think. Oh, and there is Montella. There's the goal from Montella that we have all been waiting for. Those of us who thinks he's going to make the top 5 of the top scorers chart just before halftime. Just before halftime. Let's see who got the assist on it. So Bolton Phoenix have the just a little bit more of a better chance creation in the first half. Doing relatively well there, creating 6 chances, 3 of them on target. Good conversion rate and completely dominating in the air. I'm not sure where those headers are being won, but apart from in the air, obviously. But I mean, in terms of on the pitch, fairly evenly spread out across the pitch. The action here, as we see it. So not much to report on that matter. Let's have a look at the individual performances of the players. Strong performance from Casillas, making up for his kind of lackluster last game with a strong performance here with an 8. Apart from that, it's just 7 6s and well 1 6 and a couple of 8s up front. Figo doing really well. It was Figo who actually got the assist. It's obviously been quite important for them to have Verong back. Verong getting a 7 and performing relatively well, not being a complete game changer as Ryan perhaps would have hoped for, and but Boomsong is doing very well, getting that 8. So yeah, it's a good addition to the side. Maybe a bit late in the season to find it, but yeah, it's all good. Let's have a look at Churchtown's performance. I mean, you can see what the difference is there. They've somehow completely neutralized Barry Ferguson. He's not getting any luck in his one-on-ones with Verong there in central midfield. So that's a disappointing first half from Churchtown. They created some chances, but Casillas was there to stop both of them. Obviously, Davids with a strong performance in the midfield, as expected. Sorocinski doing a good job. But Robin, Tudor, there's too many underperforming players in that first half of Churchtown. Let's see if they can find their mojo in the second half, as they did with against Midlothian. We're just a red card away from from a 4-goal Churchtown second half performance. We've seen that before, but they'll be disappointed with that first half. We'll kick off the second one and see if Ryan can hold on, or if Churchtown can find a way back in. They will probably need, well, as we always say, they will need an early goal, but remains to be seen whether they can convert any of those few chances that they've managed to create so far. Casillas has been putting up a good performance, much unlike his in his previous match. Churchtown having the better of the second half, just start of the second half, just as they had the better of the start of the first half. There's that corner from Barry Ferguson that we need to be so careful with. He's got so many assists from that so far this season. And Churchtown definitely creating them all in the first 10 minutes of the second half. 2 or 3 chances for them already. But Bolton, of course, they're holding firm here. It's not the most exciting and action-packed game so far in terms of goals, but I'm sure the managers are as nervous as can be. It's really balancing on a knife edge here with just that 1-goal lead for Bolton Phoenix. Couple more chances. The second half is really taking on the shape as the first half did. Couple of good chances for Churchtown in the beginning, and then Bolton sort of dominating the middle of it. And we'll see if they can actually, they can perhaps actually capitalize on that. That's got to be a tricky one. We're gonna have to take. I can't take Barry Ferguson off, can I? Really, he's the main man. Let's do this one here. It's got to be an attacking substitution. He's got to see if he can find his way back in this one. Obviously, Oh, you want Jeremy's off instead of him? Okay. Cancel all changes. We'll take Jeremy's off instead. Let's see. Where is he? Jens. Jeremy's off. Okay. We'll go for it. We'll go for it. We'll see. Hanshak Butt is obviously a well-known penalty taker, but perhaps not the most well-known saver. We'll have to have a look and see how he fares with this one. Of course, Kieran had the benefit of having Headman sent off in his encounter with Midlothian, but now he's at the receiving end of it. Oliver Kahn conceding that penalty. With two-thirds of the game is gone already. If Bolton score this one, this is going to be a tricky one to come back from. So let's see. On comes Butt. Veron takes a spot kick and he puts it away. Just over 20 minutes to go, and Bolton in a relatively comfortable 2-0 lead here. Churchtown not creating that many chances, to be honest. Could all be about to change, obviously, but Ryan is looking very, very strong and looking as if they'll be the ones joining Vallen in the final on Sunday. Perhaps a bit of a shame that we have these kind of matches decided by red cards. Really, I say decided. Of course, it could still have gone either way, but that's the risk that you run when you play with very few defenders. Then often there is going to be one-on-one situations, and it can obviously end like that. Montella with the header, but Hanchak would, to be fair, making a decent fist of it after coming on and protecting his goal okay, picking up where he can but eventually succumbing to the pressure and Veron getting a second of the game. Any last minute chances for either side? Maybe a consolation goal for Churchtown? No, it goes back down the other end. Veron fires over. Edmundo ends up getting injured. We'll put Mackay on just for a couple of minutes. Not that it probably matters that much. And there goes the final whistle. Bolton Phoenix joins Andreas and Vallen United in the final. Not really the spectacle that many of us had perhaps hoped for. A fairly innocuous first half with a little bit of just the players sort of like prodding at it and creating a couple of chances. Keepers doing relatively well, and of course the second half, the once your keeper gets sent off, there's a penalty. You're 2-0 down. I mean, this is how Kieran, if we're being honest, this is how Kieran ended up here with the opposition keeper being sent off. So let's hope that that's been evened out now, so we can have a final, hopefully without red cards and and a game that's decided sort of outside the penalty areas in terms of play, rather than by a keeper being sent off. It does kind of spoil it a little bit. Obviously, taking nothing away from Ryan, it was a solid victory for him. Um, Strong performance from his players. Let's have a look at the individual performances. It was really only Raul who's been like a complete disappointment throughout the season. I would have perhaps suggested, I mean, you could play anyone in that position and they couldn't really do any worse, to be honest. Um, I appreciate he's a star player and someone that you want to hold on to, but can you afford to carry someone like that in the final? It's perhaps something that you'll have to consider. Gary Neville doing his very best in the defender role there. Completely neutralizing the attack for Churchtown. Midfielders as well doing a brilliant job. Boomsong coming in and I mean playing out of his skin really. Hugely impressive performance from him here and 9 tonight and one of the players of the match. A little bit surprised perhaps that Figo didn't get the man of the match with his 2 assists or Veron with his 2 goals instead of Montella with his 1 goal and 0 assist that gets it. But that's what happens. Um, Sometimes the things are dished out like that. Not a huge amount of touches for the Bolton players, so again, not the most exciting of games, but a solid victory and I think well deserved if you look at it overall. Strong defensive performance ish from Churchtown, apart from the keeper, obviously. Didn't really work with the front three, surprisingly. The catalyst, Barry Ferguson, didn't really have the time and space that he's had in previous games. Perhaps being directly up against Veron was too much for him. Maybe he likes the two central midfielders against him, or I don't know what goes on with Barry Ferguson, but he didn't turn up tonight. Or Lisa Deby didn't turn up. Henrik Larsson did his best in the first half, had a couple of shots. Edgar Davids, the captain, doing a solid job at the back there. But obviously, once the keeper's gone, then there's not much you can do when you're already struggling to create chances. Handshake Wood coming on for an 8, and that pretty much sealed it for Churchtown. That Wood wasn't able to save the penalty, and after that it was all downhill from there, unfortunately. Anyway, that brings us to the let's have a look. That brings us to the table. If I can find it, here we go. No, oh, they haven't been scheduled yet. Okay, but let's just be honest and say that it'll be Bolton and it'll be Kieran in the final. I can't click through this because you'll see a bunch of stuff that is kind of secret, obviously. So we're looking forward to the final. Vallen United against Bolton Phoenix. It'll be played on Sunday. The kickoff will be at 9 o'clock. I hope you can all join me there. I'll perhaps try to join a little bit earlier now that we're not allowed to go out or whatever the rules are at the moment. So thank you very much for joining. It was a bit of a short one tonight, but there's only one game, so that's all you're going to get. And I hope to see you again on Sunday evening at 9 p.m. for the grand final of this not really the first season, but the first season under my guidance of the Super League. Thanks very much for watching, and good night, everyone.